The BJP says that Kejriwal is discharged, not acquitted, but they are looking at technicalities. The reality is that the liquor scam was the center point of a long-drawn attack on Arvind Kejriwal by the BJP with the principal premise, politically speaking, in terms of political strategy, that once he's ring-fenced and he loses the positioning of a person who is incorruptible, then he becomes politically vulnerable. Of course, everything does not go away, but the fact is that it has been said by the court today that whereas they have not defended the liquor policy, and in fact, in my interview with Manish Sisodia, even he has not defended the liquor policy, the court has said that the investigators have been unable to prove that there has been any prior agreement or meeting of minds indicative of a criminal conspiracy in the formulation of the liquor policy. So the court is not saying that there is no scam. The court is saying even if there is a scam, and that's my reading of what the court has said, you, that is the investigators, have been unable to prove that X, Y, Z, A, B, C sat together and had a prior agreement to indicate a criminal conspiracy. Now, ladies and gentlemen, therefore the court is basically saying that legally speaking, technically speaking, in terms of legal corroboration, the existence of a conversation or some facts which can lead to an inference don't amount to a strong enough case against Arvind Kejriwal, Manish Sisodia and others. Therefore, the question of the court is the strength of the evidence which it is not convinced by. For example, it says that as far as approver statements are concerned, there is only one major approver. On the basis of one approver statements, in this case a person called Raghav Amunta, you cannot build an entire case. It amounts to inadmissible hearsay. There again, ladies and gentlemen, what is the fundamental argument of the court? The court is saying that I am not questioning your approver, but you are taking the approver at face value. You are saying the approver is a wonderful person, inherently truthful. You have not questioned the approver enough. You have not questioned the methods. And if you start doing these things, then, and here are the strong words of the court, such conduct risks converting exceptional mechanism of pardon into an instrument for narrative construction rather than truth discovery, thereby causing serious prejudice to the accused and eroding confidence in the criminal justice process. This is entirely, however, a subjective observation of the court, which is then in its order. But the interesting thing about these orders, when they're completely one-sided, in this case, the court is completely against the central government and the CBI, then it risks the possibility of some other judge in an appellate court taking a different view. Now comes to the case on Manish Sisodia. The court says the whole case is based on inferences. You believe that he's made a mistake. That's what the court is saying. You have not been able to get me accurate evidence putting him in a conspiratorial meeting, clandestine deliberations, cash transactions. There is no financial trail. So Manish Sisodia, ladies and gentlemen, was the Deputy Chief Minister, the man who drafted the policy. What the court is saying, at the most, he may have made a mistake. He has made a mistake. He's done something wrong, maybe, but there is no quid pro quo, there is no financial trail, there is no recovery of a document, and therefore, if you've not been able to prove any money movement, you cannot say that there is a conspiracy that he's the mastermind of. Ladies and gentlemen, a clip of an interview with Manish Sisodia that I did a while back, I asked him that if you come back to power again, will you bring back the liquor policy? He was ambiguous on that. Interestingly, he did not say, I will not bring back the liquor policy, but neither did he say that I will, which means they're not proud of the liquor policy. What is the overall political impact of all of this? One, I have three major points to make. One, for the Congress, this is an existential threat because Kejriwal comes back into the political reckoning. B, for the BJP, it's acute embarrassment because the whole controversy over the liquor case, now of course they will say we'll go to an appellate court, it's not the final verdict, but in terms of public perception, that whole attempt to put a corruption taint on Kejriwal has failed. 3, for Kejriwal himself, who has milked the position to the hilt, there he's crying, and while one does empathize whatever his sentiments may be, he's not unaware that there are cameras on him, and crying, before all the cameras will be seen to be an attempt at evoking a fair amount of public sympathy, and he is a practiced performer in that. However, ladies and gentlemen, this is an opportunity before the Punjab elections and also the upcoming Gujarat elections for Kejriwal to give one more shot at making an impact. Both these states, especially Gujarat, is where there's been a 1 versus 1 battle. If Arvind Kejriwal manages to get an entry into Gujarat, being in power and is able to defend Punjab, ladies and gentlemen, then it could be at least to 50% a comeback for Arvind Kejriwal at a national level. Will it happen? I can't say. Today, however, is Kejriwal's day.